What is going on, survivors? We are back with another mod review, and for today's mod review we're going to be going over the MarniiMod wildlife mod. This mod adds exactly what it says it does. A lot of wildlife and a lot of creatures. Let's get into it, talk about everything that is entailed in here. First of all, you're going to have this crafting bench that you're going to be able to make. This crafting bench is going to be the wildlife smithy that you're going to make, and you'll be able to make decor, some saddles, and some skins as well for current creatures, so you can be able to make some different saddle skins, and then some saddles for all the creatures that we're going to talk about in here, the ones that can actually have saddles. There's some decoration stuff that you can make as well, and there's a chibi builder in here, but I don't know how to make any of this stuff. I'm not sure how this part works. I did a little bit of reading, messed around with it a little bit, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how this works. Maybe somebody can mention something in the comments about how this works. I'm not entirely certain. But anywho, so let's get started. First up, let's take a look at the cows. So we have cows, male and female. We have a bull and a cow. So cows, you'll find them in herds and grasslandy sort of areas. You can actually tame them with veggie cakes or berries or whatever. They're herbivores. The bull actually has like a bleed attack. The male actually has a bleed attack, and the female can actually be milked. You get this option. It takes a little bit of time. You just got to hold it in the radial menu and let it drag all the way out. But you can actually drink this on your own to use for your own benefit, and we have it in here. It does give you nourishment, and yeah, you can do that. Or there's actually small cats in the game that you can use to tame the cats with. So kind of a two-stage process. You can use it for either one. You can ride these guys, obviously. They have a normal attack, and like I said, the bull has a bleed attack that with his melee attack, which is kind of cool. They're not very slow either. They're kind of moving. Got a little bit of a jump going on with you, but you got this bull horned attack, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the cows. Next up, let's talk about the little chickens. Basically, these are kind of like dodo replacements almost. They don't really replace the dodos. They're kind of like in addition to. You're going to find them on the beaches like you normally would find dodos, but you're going to find male and female. So you're going to find the roosters and the hens. So the hens will lay eggs much like the dodos will, just as often. As you can see, there's a giant pile of eggs already here. So they're definitely your egg layers for sure. Yeah, so you can eat these, or you can use them in cooking recipes like normal. So it's pretty cut and dry. They're a knockout tame, and they eat berries, so you can tame them that way. And the rooster actually every morning in game will actually make this giant rooster crowing noise, just like a rooster does. So you have that easy access to eggs, and yeah, the textures look really good on these guys. I gotta say, they look good, and then they also look like they fit in this game. So for sure, I dig it. We also have a camel. The camel, the camel has a regular attack, where it can just attack like that. It also has a right-click bit attack, which I think is pretty funny. Like, the fact that it can actually do that is hilarious to me. I love it. I think actually I'm gonna have way too much fun with that. That's what I'm gonna do. It actually looks pretty good. I mean, as far as animals out here goes, I feel like it fits pretty well for the most part. It can store water, kind of like the Morellatops does, so you do have that ability as well. It looks like it says control is like this cuddle ability, but it's not actually doing anything. Not sure what that means. Let me turn my HUD back off, maybe? No, doesn't do anything. Okay, never mind. Moving on. Has pretty good movement to it, though. Moves pretty quick, and the stats aren't really that bad. I probably should go back and look at the other stats. Now, I attained these at 150, so they came out at 225, but as you can see, they level up pretty good, looks like. Chickens are probably comparable to, yeah, like dodos, basically, what you expect out of dodos. Cows look like, yeah, like a medium range mount sort of stats on here. Nothing too crazy, I don't think. The elephant, let's be honest, they're, it's not a mammoth. It's not the size of a mammoth, and it's actually a bit more agile than a mammoth. So that kind of works out. You can knock them out and feed them berries to tame them. They have a regular attack like this, and then they have a right attack, which is kind of like an AoE attack. They'll actually pick up fiber for you with C, so let's run around here and try this out real quick. Yep, okay, yep, picking up fiber, and then it'll also harvest a lot of berries and wood and thatch for you as well, and pretty sure it still gets the weight reduction too. Yeah, so 100 wood is 12.5 over here, and it's 50 over here, so you get a heck of a weight reduction on a lot of this stuff. Berries, not so much. Thatch, no. Fiber, I don't think so either. Yeah, so it's just the wood that you get the weight reduction on, but you get a pretty significant weight reduction with that one. You can ride a lot of these without saddles, as you obviously can see, but you can also make saddles for them as well on the bench that we talked about. Wolves. So commonly, you know, normally we would expect like dire wolves. These are a little, I think they're a little bigger, a little beefier, honestly, a little wider stance to them. I think the texture, actually, I like these better, if I'm being honest. They still have like the pack howl buff abilities. So you have a pack leader, as you can see, the +2s are showing up, and that's usually the pack leader's the one with the highest level, obviously. So you're going to have your left attack, you're going to have this howl buff that applies to all the wolves like you would normally have out of the regular wolves. You have this C attack. Well, you have a control which just animates the howl. You just want to have a howl. You don't really need it, but in case you want it. They have this C attack where you can spot out what looks like hidden treasures and thing. It says hidden treasures, but I think what it means is like hidden objects, like maybe like Perlovias that are underground and such. I think that's kind of the point of this guy. But anyway, you can see the pack bonus up top, how it trickles down. You'll be able to use that as well. That's pretty much it for the wolves. You have a pack bonus on them. The stats that being really that much different from regular dire wolf, so they're pretty good. Pretty good. And pack animals, so that's always a plus. Shadow cat. So this is kind of an interesting Thylacoleo sort of look to it, but about, I don't know, it's about the same size. But it's definitely a sculpt in and of its own, and I think this is like the mod creator's first one, which is like the first texture they made, which is kind of like a nod to that, I guess. These are apparently like a really rare occurrence, and you'll find them up in the mountains, and you can tame them with cooked meat or extraordinary kibble. You have a left, oh, kind of stuck between bodies over here. You have a left attack, which is just like this bite attack, and then the right click does like a swipe little AoE attack. This one will roar as well, I think, with the C attack. Oh yeah, we got a nice little roar in there too. Pretty cool. Stats, let's take a look at them. Ooh, good health. Really good health on these. And the weight's not too bad either. Melee damage, obviously pretty comparable. These guys are tanky, looks like. Tanky. Alright, so over to the snow leopard. Snow leopard, I mean, obviously you find snow leopard in the snow. Right, I mean, I don't really think I should have to spell this out, but just in case you're wondering, you do in fact find the snow leopards in the snow. You knock them out using meats to tame them. You can also use extraordinary kibble. These pretty much work just like Thylacoleos. So you still get the Thylacoleo climb option as well with them, and then you have this left attack, which is kind of just fight. Let's go. Let's take them over here. Go over here. Let's see the climb. Jump attack is pretty. Jump's pretty good on it. Should have a C roar option as well. Oh yeah, got a roar option as well. Kind of like that. Just little things like that. The climb is a little finicky. It looks like it's kind of work. Oh, there it goes. Okay, yeah. We got the climb ability. So it's a little finicky, but it totally works. Honestly, just going straight up hills like this thing is pretty amazing at it, to be honest with you. Just climbing anything. Pretty impressive. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really care about fall damage either. Wow. Okay. The climb is a little weird with it, but it totally works. It does work. As we can see, wow, it actually swims pretty decently as well. Actually, kind of impressed with that one. But this is pretty much like a kind of a Thylacoleo sort of replacement animal, I would say, for sure. Again, a lot of these animals you can make saddles for if you want to, but most of them can be ridden without it. And these stats are really kind of comparable to the stats are not that far off from the Shadow Cat, really. All right, lions. Obviously, they're packs, right? So you're going to have prides. They're all marked as alpha. I think that's because they're all the same level, actually. You can knock these guys out and just feed them meat like normally to tame them. You have a, just like a left-click attack button with these guys. Normal attack, but then you also have a roar, which is your right-click ability, which will increase the melee and the speed of these guys. And the speed is definitely increased. Decent. Wow, you got a huge lunge with these. That's pretty nice. It's not very high, but it goes straight forward pretty far. Pretty impressive. Taking a look at the stats. They got a pretty decent stat. I mean, their health isn't incredibly high, but the damage and the speed is pretty good. Pack animal, for a pack animal, I think this is great. I don't think any of these stats are really that overpowered, which is nice to see, actually. I like to see creature mods. I don't like to see creature mods where they just make the new additional creature just end all be all, just better than everything. Moving on down, let's check out the mountain goat. So the mountain goat, we should be able to have the option to pet this. Yeah, so it kind of gives that Listershore bonus XP to things nearby, so you have that option to pet it. You can ride it, blah blah blah. You can make a saddle or you cannot make a saddle. It does have this headbutt attack, but you have to like it stops you when you use it though, so you have to watch that. And apparently the headbutt attack will cause bleed to players, not other creatures, but to players. But I can see that as being a little difficult because it stops. It's not a creature that can hit and run at the same time. You just got to do one or the other, but kind of cool though. So we have two different options for the owls. You have a snowy owl and then an owl. And basically what this is just a more realistic owl. Instead of the extinction overskins, instead of the extinction, you know, like tech and alien stuff around the eyeballs, what you have is just a straight up owl instead. Then you also have this little guy as well, so you can find this little one as well to ride on your shoulder. These can be found in the snow biome, and they do eat meat to tame, and they do still produce pellets. The pellets can be used as fertilizer. It looks like, so some of these flyers, especially this guy, it looks like they have some of the options that like a glow animal would do, but if I hit turn on, it doesn't actually provide any more light. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but it does look like the enemy player detection and the max wild creature detection both still work, so nice to be able to have both of those. Scrolling over, we got a bunch of other stuff still. So the hare can actually be found in the redwoods, and you can bring it rock carrots or berries, and it'll be your friend. So it's passive tame. You just walk up to it and kind of feed it either carrots or just berries, and you can tame it that way. You can ride on your shoulder. This apparently has the same kind of options that the Oviraptor has, where you can put it on wander and it will increase the egg laying capabilities of the creatures nearby. The exotic bird, you find them in jungles in the Ark. You have to use rare flowers to passively tame these guys. They kind of look like, I guess, miniature Argies. Miniature Argie slash Featherlight, kind of mixed together a little bit with some stuff added to it, for sure. But you can ride them. They can ride on your shoulder after you tame them, and that's pretty much it. But after you do tame them, they'll only eat cooked meat or seeds. Like, they're really picky, apparently. Same thing though, I have the option to turn these lights on, but they don't actually do anything. The player detection do tend to work though, so not sure what's going on there, but maybe it's just because they're taking, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I don't make mods. It's really hard for me to tell you why that works that way. I don't even know. And it's raining and foggy. Everybody's wet. Smells like wet fur out here. Everybody's miserable, except most of you guys over there. You probably don't care. Cat. Made of pure concentrated evil. If you craft anything and place them on tables, they will knock them over. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm kidding. Anyway, you find these guys in the redwoods, and you can feed them fish meat, or you can actually feed them the milk that you get from the cows as a passive tame. They can ride on your shoulder, and apparently they'll kind of alert you of weather changes, although in typical cat fashion it does what it wants. It didn't say anything about this happening. Nothing. Look at you. Look at those eyeballs. You don't care. This is very cat. Very cat. Anyway, they're supposed to be able to detect weather patterns much like the Jerboas do on Scorched Earth, so I guess if it's in the mood, it'll do that. I don't trust cats, I'm sorry. Anyway, we actually have little rats that will run around in the swamp areas. So these guys can be tamed with prime meat or mutton to tame, but you don't want to tick them off. So they obviously are pack bone, like you have a pack of them and they get stronger the more of them there are, kind of like compies. But their bites can actually like cause like wound infection, so you can actually get poisoned by them. They can hang out on your shoulder, and then they get a cool ability where items on them weigh less. So the metal, like this metal, like they don't really have a high weight capacity. But when you look at, let's dump some of this. Like what I'm talking about. Let's split this down, and let's split it down one more time, just so we can look at what I'm talking about here. So 30 metal weighing 30. Over here it only weighs 30 as well. And let's turn GCM off so I can see what my weight actually is. But right now I'm at 127.1, and if I pick this rat up, I only go up not even 10 weight. Even though this little mouse here is carrying about 30 pounds worth of metal, my total weight doesn't go up by 30, it only goes up by a little bit. So essentially items on them weigh less when you're carrying them is how that works. So a cool little option and little shoulder pets, but the little pack bonus kind of makes me wonder how ruthless these things would be if you just raised a bunch of, like an angry mob of them and had them attacking things. I'm intrigued by that. I think it's really funny. You have these little frogs, so you can passive tame these guys with just meat, but apparently they do actually have a toxic attack. So don't get hit by these guys. Watch what you're doing. Don't let these things hit you. Don't piss them off, apparently, is what we're really getting after here. Pet frog, warning, causes hallucinations. Oh, I feel like we gotta try this, right? Oh. Oh, it's that. That's what that does. It's the crazy apparition mushroom. Oh dear. I pooped everywhere. Wow. Okay, so it does that. Be careful. Definitely be careful. Ooh, man, feeling a little dizzy. A little dizzy. Anyway, so we have snakes. Like not Titan bows, like normal size snakes. Doesn't make it any less creepy. You probably don't want to be hanging around with these guys. You can find these guys in mountainy, sort of rocky areas. You can tame them with fertilized creature eggs, much like you would normally tame Titan boas. You can have them mounted on your shoulder, but the cool thing about these guys is they do heavy torpor damage. Like, they don't do very much damage. They just do straight torpor damage to things, making, I don't know, a few of these maybe kind of effective for knocking things out, depending on how tough and strong you can get these guys to be. What else? We got these little ravens. The little ravens can be found in the mountains and the snow. You can tame them by just knocking them out and feeding them meat. They give you an intelligence buff when you pet them, which basically ups your crafting skill. Let's take a look at this. So right now my crafting skill is 100. Bam. Oh yeah, so it went up to 125. Cool. And it looks like that has a pretty good timer on it too. So it's a 2. Yeah, you got a few minutes of this stuff. Okay. Interesting concept. I like that one. Kind of a cool thing. Being able to just get a little bit smarter by petting a bird. But yeah, for real though, I mean, having your crafting skill higher up and being able to just pet that guy and get it buffed up, that's kind of nice. I don't know if that's just a straight 25 or if that's a incremental, like a percentage sort of thing. Maybe it's a percentage, like maybe it just goes up another 25%. So the higher crafting skill you have, the more you would get out of using something like that. Definitely worth a couple of tests. I kind of wish this would go away now because I can't see very well. Oh, okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. We have a gecko. Geckos are going to be in the swamp, and you can actually feed them with the chicken eggs. They'll spot nearby creatures and enemies for you, kind of like how the charge animals do. And still the same thing. Like, we have those charge light options, but I don't see this actually doing anything. So I'm not sure if this is just in here because they took the same maybe general mechanics from a glow animal and assigned them over to this. Not entirely certain. But they do kind of look like a glow tail, just minus all the feathery stuff. Like, it looks like an actual gecko, which is pretty cool. That's pretty much it as far as all the creatures, and there's a lot, really, when you really think about it. And a lot of these are pack animals, so you're not going to just see one or two of these hanging around. You're going to see a pack of them roaming around, which I really like. This is honestly, this is the type of mod I want to see. I want to see more like dinosaur, not necessarily dinosaur, but just creatures, like realistic creatures thrown around in the Ark. I really like that. I think a lot of us really like the simpler sort of not quite futuristic animals that sometimes we see with newer Ark maps, but this definitely brings it back home a bit. I'm a fan. I'm a fan for sure. I like this mod. Cons? The only con that I can really say is that I was trying to run this mod on the Genesis map on our community server, and for whatever reason the creatures weren't spawning. I can't tell if that's just the mod not supported on that map or not, but it seems to be that they're supported on this map. I actually put up a dino scanner earlier just to scan the map, and they were spawning in and showing up. So I know that they work on a lot of the Ark maps, but maybe some of the newer maps they're having problems working on, or maybe it's a specific Genesis thing. Or let's be terribly honest, it could also be user error. That's a high probability. I like the idea of being able to ride all the animals without the saddles. I think that's really cool. And they all do have little distinct advantages, a little bit characteristic, much like in Ark fashion. Now you get those animals that all have something. That one little thing that makes them kind of stand out over the rest of them, and all these animals do. They don't look like... The other thing I was kind of worried about is that they might have looked like maybe they were stolen a lot from... Well, not stolen, but maybe modeled a lot after animals that are already in here. And for the most part, it doesn't actually look like that. Like, I see some things in the stature of, say, snow leopard, where I see a little bit of thylacoleo. The direwolves also definitely similar to direwolves a bit. This guy looks like kind of, you know, the exotic bird looks like a mini Argentavis. The gecko definitely looks like a glow tail, and obviously these are, you know, reskinned off of the regular snow owls. But there's not, I mean, there's so much original stuff going on in here. I kind of like this. I think if you're looking for more of a primitive Ark, or even if you just kind of want to go back to your roots on the island, I think this is a really good mod for it. And it works really well, and they all kind of work together. And yeah, I'm a huge fan. The only other con I can't figure out, the only other con would just be this chibis. These chibis, but I feel like this, again, might be just user error, and I might just not know what I'm talking about. So that's definitely a possibility. Anywho, I would highly recommend this one. I really like it. I think it's really cool. I think this is a really interesting mod showcase for these guys. I like having more creatures. More creatures in Ark is always a good thing in my opinion. And more balanced creatures. I looked at the stats on a lot of these animals, and you saw them too. Even at level 225, their stats were not crazy by any means. At least I don't think so anyway. That's it, guys. That's a Marny Wildlife mod. We will have a link to the workshop page in the description of the video, so you guys can check that out at your leisure. Please hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I will see you all on the next one.